Chapter 207. The divine tree swayed gently, its leaves rustling. Numerous cracks opened on its trunk, revealing a golden glow of spiritual power within. Could this be a new form of the divine tree? It even had two pointed ears like those of the elf race, but of course it was not an elf. In fact, it was deep in thought, its eyes reflecting disappointment and resentment. Damn it, its skills hadn't changed at all. As soon as it saw this, it immediately thought of the deceptive system, feeling tricked and cornered. Look at this, everything was still at level 4. How could it fight against the dark? But then, the system sent a notification. The direction of evolution after the 4th extraordinary level must be chosen by oneself. The final direction of evolution depends on you. So that's how it is, like a player who has reached the necessary level and must change jobs to gain new strength. The divine tree relaxed a bit when it read these lines, so it needed to set a direction for the rest of its evolution, feeling lucky that the system that specialized in scaring people didn't cheat it. The divine tree gently turned itself, causing the leaves to lightly shake. It adjusted its posture a bit as it prepared to make the most important decision in its life. Evolution Direction 1. The seed of vitality can be transformed into a world tree. Evolution Direction 2. Absolute evolution can transform all phenomena into one. Evolution Direction 3. Controlling lightning can be transformed into immortal thunderwood. Evolution Direction 4. In an instant, it can stand tall in the long river of time. Please choose one of the main attacks. The remaining 3 need to be consumed by yourself. These were the innate talents that the divine tree had collected over the journey of several decades. Indeed, it had to be extremely hard to get them. But at this moment, the system required it to choose only one? Wasn't that too stingy? The divine tree's eyes still reflected a bit of loss, except for the time talent. It hardly used it. The rest were extremely useful, had helped it destroy countless enemies. It began to concentrate and think carefully about each choice. The first evolution direction, this was its first initial talent. With infinite spiritual power and vitality, it sounded domineering. This talent was also closest to its nature. Control the mind? This skill was unnecessary, completely unsuitable for the divine tree. Control the flow of time, although very powerful, but also not suitable for the divine tree, because being a time which would make it like those unstable old wizards, and every use would deplete its spiritual power. The price was too high. It looked at the absolute evolution talent. It could imagine it was like the way Australith and the Black Shell evolved. It seemed to be a way to increase strength terribly by absorbing others, but it was also a double-edged sword. If it didn't absorb others, it couldn't evolve, right? And if it absorbed a creature with conflicting characteristics with its current body, then what? This was too dangerous. This evolution direction could take Australith and the Black Shell as examples. They were both killed. The result was in, and the divine tree whispered, "I choose the seed of life." Like a student who had just finished their exam, it relaxed its back, thinking that this was the best and most positive choice. It was one of its earliest talents, aiming for ultimate development, becoming an immortal tree, granting life to other species. At this moment, a golden light began to shine. The divine tree was firm in its decision. It once again confirmed that this decision was correct, because currently this innate talent was also the strongest. The remaining innate talents were all top-notch skills, but unfortunately, their power was not significant. If in the future it had enough evolution points, it would strengthen them later. The system recorded the answer. A dark green system board appeared. Race. Immortal tree. The natural talent is endless. When it reaches level 7, it can condense the source of vitality. Even a drop of spiritual liquid is enough to summon a dying person. Now, even a branch of deadwood can instantly restore derivative abilities when the spiritual power is sufficient. An endless recovery. Even if the branch breaks, it can regenerate in an instant. Immediately after, a huge column of spiritual power enveloped the land where the divine tree stood. The spiritual power it emitted was so dense that it was even more than the spiritual power from the space crack. All of Misty Mountain saw a scene that had never been seen before. This breath was too powerful. It was the strongest they had ever seen. No creature, when evolving, had ever appeared such a terrifying column of spiritual power. All creatures too close would surely be annihilated. Over here, The black dragon was roaring to show its dominance. Confronting the black dragon was the extraordinary warrior force of the Ten-Nation Alliance. It seemed that they had exchanged quite a few tactics, causing the land under their feet to shatter. No, this dragon had killed 30 cities in a row, fighting from the Ten-Nation Federation, fighting to the China Federation. It was now on the land of the China Federation. Oh my, this was a crazy dragon. Didn't the Dark King tell it to stop? Did it need to rush to its death like this? A warrior suddenly spoke up, "Retreat. We can't beat this transcendent Fourth Order dragon." But among them, there were still people who wanted to fight to the end. They were worried about the cities behind if this line of defense was breached. Millions of people had been killed by this dragon, just in a few short days. Of course, this warrior was not afraid to retreat. He was very wise. Knowing that behind was the place of that person, he shouted, "Retreat now! Behind this city is the territory of the mutant tree. Let it fight with the mutant tree." Fortunately, the China Federation still had a powerhouse capable of dominating the four directions. At times like this, they could still rely on, right? All the warriors retreated as fast as lightning. The crazy dragon once again circled over the ruined city engulfed in fire. It felt that this burning scene was indeed a masterpiece in the human world. In the next city, it would test a few new skills. After all, it had just reached Transcendent Fourth Order with a bunch of unused skills. On a towering building, a person with a purple hooded cloak was quietly watching the dragon. His whole body was covered, only revealing a pair of unblinking eyes. Who was this? It looked like a woman. Does this dragon know that it is encroaching on the territory of the Divine Tree? Of course it does. But at this point, it has become a Fourth Order mutant creature, possessing destructive power that can shatter heaven and earth. It fears no one but the Dark King. As it flew close to the edge of the misty mountain forest, it roared loudly, "Ha ha ha ha, I will kill you for my master. Then I will go find that purple python to settle the score." It seems it still doesn't know that the purple python is the Divine Tree itself. What a foolish dragon. It should know that creatures that have evolved to a high enough level can achieve a certain level of spiritual perception, easily identifying the spiritual breath of their opponents and accurately identifying their enemies. Unfortunately, perhaps the range of this wretched dragon's spiritual perception is still too small. Even though they are both Fourth Order, the Divine Tree is clearly a more advanced entity with far superior capabilities. The white tiger and the beasts of the misty mountain remain silent as statues under the reign of the spiritual tide. Suddenly, the white tiger detects a strange presence, a breath that is not from its ally. Indeed, a dragon is flying like an omit insect in the air, advancing into the range of the illusionary fog. The white tiger, emotionless, simply says, "Everyone will die." The nine-tailed fox, although meditating with her eyes closed, has also recognized that this enemy is very strong. Meanwhile, their master is evolving and cannot take action. Of course, the Divine Tree is evolving. This time it's a real evolution, a process occurring at the molecular level. It might take a while, but who knows how long. No wonder the advancement to the Fifth Order was so fast. It turns out that the appearance was prioritized for transformation first, and the true essence needs the host to choose. Hopefully, the Divine Tree will wake up in time to confront the Dark King. At this moment, among the beasts of the Misty Mountain, a pair of huge crawling legs move, creating a shockwave that spreads around. That's the crocodile. Now it should be called the lava dragon. Its eyes light up, turning to its teammates and saying, "All right, leave it to me." The nine-tailed fox heard this and did not object. The enemy is strong, but not too strong. So a guy like the lava dragon should be able to fight. But to protect the lives of the remaining teammates, she decides to lock the entire area in a protective barrier, mentally transmitting a message to the crocodile. If you want to, then fight. So, the lava dragon begins to lumber out of this cultivation area with its gigantic steps. Of course, it tried to walk lightly and gracefully because its massive body, if running, would shake the ground and affect everyone. The mad dragon stopped and began to observe this land. Everywhere was fog. This was the illusionary fog containing the magic of the Divine Tree, but this dragon had evolved too high, causing it to no longer be affected. But it cannot be denied that these layers of fog made it feel extremely uncomfortable. At this point, it also felt like it was being surrounded with countless pairs of cold, judgmental eyes looking at it as if looking at a ragged addict entering the party of the nobles. Perhaps that's the ability to perceive spiritual power. Indeed, all the beasts in Misty Mountain knew of its existence because they had released their magic and checked it from afar. The mad dragon got angry and began to concentrate its spiritual power. It shouted, "This fog is really annoying." Then, it shot straight forward, instantly dispelling all the obscuring fog, revealing a radiant Misty Mountain under the sun. Indeed, it felt much more comfortable. The dragon tried to breathe a bit of fresh air, but the fog dissipated. The ability to perceive presence also became clearer, suddenly making the black dragon jump. A dragon had been walking on the ground appeared before its eyes from who knows when. At this point, the two silently looked at each other. Not a sound. The lava dragon knew well that this enemy had advanced to the Fourth Order, was a powerful entity, but it felt that it was not unbeatable. Thinking so, it spoke up, its voice deep and stern. "Stop here. Do not advance any further." The mad dragon was stunned for a moment, thinking that this guy should have rushed out to curse and hit it. Then the two would fight heaven and earth. Did not expect it to be so noble and polite. For a moment the dragon also did not know what to say. It scratched its chin, then squinted its eyes. It had found a reason. It cursed loudly. "Damn it! You guys killed our sea prophet 3 years ago. Today I come to take revenge." As soon as it finished speaking, a terrifying wave of spiritual power swept across the face of the black dragon, because the lava dragon had started to tense up, bursting out its spiritual power. The lava dragon roared, "Is that so? Then let's fight." Its huge wings stood up, its whole body's muscles bulging, like a drug addict picking a fight with a gold medal bodybuilding policeman. Haha. But the black dragon is not shit. It is a disaster-level powerhouse. It immediately squinted its face and swung its tail up, fast as lightning. It used its body to coil around the lava dragon. The long and flexible physique always has its certain advantages. The lava dragon was also surprised, did not expect this mad dragon to like close combat. The black dragon began to gather spiritual power, preparing to breathe into the head of its enemy. But life is never easy. The body of the black dragon was being stretched by a terrifying muscular force. The lava dragon had turned on its lava physique mode. Its whole body appeared countless hot lava veins. Its body from black and yellow became black and orange burning. It used its large right hand to tightly grab the body of the black dragon. Want to play close combat? It was ready to entertain. At this point in the mouth of the lava dragon had also accumulated a mouthful of hot lava spiritual power. The two dragons prepared to compete, whose breath is stronger and stinkier. A second later, a huge explosion shook the sky and earth occurred in Misty Mountain. This power could blow away a city and dig 20 meters deep into the ground. Of course, the trees will be gone. The scenery will dissipate, but the beasts in the protective barrier of the nine-tailed fox will be safe. End of chapter 207. But a small question for fans of the Divine Tree. If you are one of the main forces of the Divine Tree, what innate talent do you want to possess? Please comment below. Thank you and see you tomorrow.